It's weird, right? Weddings. I chuckled, smoothing the skirt of my white dress. Second time's the charm, or something. Nervous as hell, though. My mom, fussing with my makeup, smiled, hand on my shoulder. Spring sun poured into the bridal room, all soft and warm. Nora, you chose this. Be happy this time, she said, her voice gentle. I will, Mom. This time's different. Jackson's different. My fingers trembled a bit, fumbling with my necklace clasp. First wedding was a massive church deal, all eyes and blessings. This time, small venue, intimate. Like Jackson said, let's just cherish us, just the two of us. Time to go, the planner announced. I took a breath, stepped out into the aisle. Soft organ music filled the air, and the guests' warm gazes washed over me as I walked. Jackson's figure, waiting at the altar, came into focus. 6-foot, charismatic, blonde hair catching the sun. Navy tux, sharp. You're wow, he whispered. My cheeks flushed. I swear, he said, his voice steady, to cherish Nora for a lifetime, her past, her present, her future, all of it. I will love and protect it. His profile, as he said those words, brought tears to my eyes. He never said a bad word about the first marriage, the divorce. His warmth, his kindness, wrapped in this vow, it was everything. Our place was a quiet neighborhood, edge of the city. 6th floor, we saw the skyline, changing with the seasons, weekdays, work, weekends, cooking, walks in the park, just being together. Every bit of normal was precious. Dinner tonight? What you thinking? Jackson asked. Anything you cook, Nora, it's killer, especially that pot au feu of yours. You're buttering me up, I laughed. No, seriously, queen of home cooking. All right. You're the king of dishes. Nah, not the king of dishes. But for you, I'd take the title. Jackson's arms wrapped around me as I stood at the counter. His scent, soap, and cologne filled me. Laughter filled our kitchen. Every night. These small things, they colored each day happy. Jackson worked IT, a middle manager. He'd stay late sometimes with clients, but always listened about my day when he got home. New project dropped today. We're all gonna kill it, he said, eyes bright. I was drawn to his passion, proud of him. Weekend mornings, brunch at the cafe. He never let work stress show, always built me up. When I told him about my previous job, all the bad times, he listened, no interruptions. The past is the past, he'd said, smiling. It's why you're here today. His words always felt warm. Then, a year in, our peace shattered with one phone call. Nora, my company, it's going bankrupt. Jackson's voice, usually so strong, was weak, shaking. I told him, we'll get through it, but anxiety sprouted in my chest. That night, first time, Jackson drank whiskey alone. Each sip, a heavy sigh. I didn't do anything wrong. Management screwed up. Why do I have to pay for it? His hands shook as he held the glass. I sat next to him, rubbing his back, silent. It wasn't his fault, the bankruptcy. But the shadow in his eyes, it got darker each day. Think you'll find something new? I asked. Jackson's face tightened. It's rough out there. Can't find a place that pays what I'm worth. Even at interviews, they look at me sideways now, the bankrupt company. His pride, it was a wall. He, who'd hunt for job info, started to retreat. I didn't have the guts to call him out on it. It's okay, we'll be fine. I'm working, we're covered. His face twisted for a second, like he'd bit down on something. I gasped. Yeah, he muttered, a coldness I'd never heard. Weekend brunches, cooking together, they faded, replaced by Jackson staring at job sites, back turned, heavy silence in the room. That it company is hiring, I said. That one? 2 entry level, Not for me, he snapped back. But, Nora, please, can you just be quiet? I need to think. Outside, spring storm brewing. Gentle breeze turned harsh. I moved quiet when prepping dinner, avoiding clanging dishes. If I spoke, Jackson would sigh, irritated. One night, living room, only TV sound, he mumbled, "You wouldn't understand." My hands froze. The coldness in his voice, new, foreign to our marriage. An alarm went off in my head, but I shut it down. Stress, it had to be. I wanted to believe that so bad. I had no idea then. It was the prelude to things turning sideways. You got dumped by your ex, right? The words hung in the air, a midnight accusation. I looked up, magazine slipping from my hands. Jackson was slumped on the couch, computer screen flashing job ads. Why would you say that? It's the truth, isn't it? That's why you're clinging to me so hard. You're scared I'm gonna leave, aren't you? The soft voice I'd fallen in love with, now sharp, cutting. 3 months since he lost his job. His words, cruel, coming more often, slowly carving me up. That's not true. I love you. Love? Don't make me laugh. Someone like you, a failure. How would you even know what love is? My chest tightened. Was this really Jackson? The man who'd vowed love at the altar? I can't find a job 'cause you don't support me. Any wife would know how to lift her husband up better. Tears welled. I gave him advice on his resume every day, ironed his suits for interviews, made his favorite meals when he got home. Wasn't it enough? Oh, you're crying again. Tears your only weapon? Did you cry like this for your ex? Look how that ended. He walked out, didn't he? His words twisted the past. The separation, the scars. I thought I'd moved on. Now Jackson ripped those wounds open again. Every day felt like walking on glass. Mornings, before work. Off to work, playing high and mighty, even if you can't make as much as me. Just wait, I'll be at a better paying job than you in no time. Evenings, when I came home, drained. You have a blast at work, right? Don't even think about how I feel at home. Weekends, doing chores. You clean like crap. This house is going to ruins 'cause of you. Food's bland. Last night was better. You've lost your touch. Each word, seemingly small, sliced like a knife. I plastered a smile on my face, tried to keep it together. Your interview today, it'll be great. Your skills, they'll get you the job, I'd say. Payday, let's go out for something nice, yeah? I'd suggest. Got you a new shirt. Wear it to the next interview. But every encouragement made things worse. You wouldn't understand. Don't get all cocky like you're better than me. His words, thrown like rocks. I was losing myself. The old me. I'd fight back against such garbage. But now, I just took it, silent. Anything I said, it'd only lead to more criticism. Late nights, after Jackson was asleep, I'd cry quietly in the bathroom, muffled sobs, using the running faucet to hide the sound. The mirror reflection haggard, every day worse. People at work started noticing. You okay, Nora? You look tired, they'd say. They saw the exhaustion under my makeup, sudden tears, taking time off. I was becoming a mess, in front of everyone. Nora, anything you want to talk about, anytime, my boss said. Kind. Tears sprang to my eyes. I couldn't tell him. The more I talked, the angrier Jackson would get. His words, they rooted inside me, became a fear. Don't go blabbing our business to others. Just shows how useless you are. One day, I had to stay late for a client meeting. Who were you drinking with? He asked. What? I wasn't drinking. The meeting. Don't lie. Ignored my calls, my emails. What were you doing? My phone was on silent during the meeting. Meeting? Don't make me laugh. Someone with your salary wouldn't get an important meeting. He snatched my phone, checking call logs, emails. I explained, but his suspicion wouldn't go away. You can't afford to be with another man, someone who earns more than you. That's how your previous marriage ended, right? That night, I protested, my voice raised for the first time. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm trying so hard to support you. Support me. Don't make me laugh. Someone like you think you could support me. I ran to the bathroom, cried, using the shower to muffle sobs. The warm water washed down tears. The person in the mirror wasn't the old me. The confidence, the smile, gone. Weekends, same, no peace. Housework, morning to night. If I rested for a second, he'd say, "You're not working, so stop sleeping all day. Playing with my money, are ya?" Even though I was the one keeping the roof over our heads, I didn't have the guts to bring that up anymore. Then, to top it off, Jackson found old photos. From my first wedding, a small album I'd kept. "You still have this? You still got feelings for him, don't you?" The album I treasured was thrown into the corner, pictures scattered, cover ripped. I knelt down, picked them up, my hand shaking. Isn't having me enough? Were things better with him? No, it's just. Shut up, stop making excuses. He grabbed my shoulder, pushed me against the wall. His eyes no hint of kindness left. From tomorrow, you're not allowed to go out without permission. Quit your job. Don't know who you're meeting. Something snapped. This wasn't love. It wasn't support. This was terror, despair, a mix I couldn't understand. I saw reality for the first time. Violence disguised as emotional abuse. What happened next sent a cold shiver down my spine. My throat was scratchy all morning, body heavy. Fever, 100.8. Period cramps, too, I felt like lead. "Jackson, I need to take the day off. Not feeling good." "What? Taking a day off?" He laughed, cold, not looking up from his computer. "You do realize I'm the one out of work here, right? You can't just take days off." "But I have a fever." "Fever? Don't be ridiculous. Weakling can't handle a measly 100.8. That's why you'll always be on the bottom." My stomach churned, felt like I was gonna puke. Couldn't even swallow breakfast. Took a fever reducer, laid back down. Then he said, "Hey, where's lunch?" I looked at the clock. 11:30. "Sorry, I'll make it now," I said, voice shaking. I got up, opened the fridge. The world spun, hand holding the knife felt shaky. "Slow, what's taking you so long?" Jackson's angry voice behind me. I flinched. I bent down to pick up a cucumber. Lost my balance. Dizziness hitting me. I leaned against the wall for support. "Look at you. No wonder your ex got tired of you." His words like poison. My throat burned. "I'm trying, I really am," I croaked, barely getting the words out. Jackson snorted, laughed. "Trying? Don't make me laugh. What can you even manage?" Sunlight through the window, felt cold. Water dripping from the sink, rhythmic, each drop chipping away at me. "Never thought much of you, but I never thought you'd be this useless." My hand tightened on the knife. My heart squeezed in a vice, not just from the fever. Deeper inside, something was breaking. 30 minutes. Food's not on the table by then. I'm taking all your paycheck. Not that you even make much, but still. As I rushed to make lunch, my mind, as always, filled with excuses. He's stressed. He lost his job. If only I could be more supportive. Maybe it's his way of showing love. But deep down I knew this wasn't love. It wasn't support. It was control. It was violence. Finally, I managed soup, set it on the table, hands shaking, plates clinking. "You happy now?" Jackson took a sip, face twisted. Bland. Can't eat this. My vision blurred. The world was spinning. I heard the kitchen timer like it was far away. You're not feeling good, are you? Why don't you rest? His voice softer, sudden, the sarcasm underneath grating. Thanks, I whispered, weak. As I tried to get to bed, Jackson grabbed my arm. But you're still making dinner. Think I'm gonna cook? I finally laid down, stared at the ceiling, opened my phone, saw my mom's number on the screen. My fingers trembled. Every time I tried to call, guilt and fear squeezed my heart. Evening came, took my temperature. 102.6. I was at my breaking point, burning, head pounding. Then Jackson's voice, angry. Hey, it's 6 already. Where's dinner? As I tried to get up, the world went black. I fell hard, floor cold. As I fell into unconsciousness, my mom's number on the screen, a beacon of hope. Nora, what do you think you're doing? Jackson's yelling from far away. My head foggy. I crawled towards the phone. Mom, I whispered, voice barely there. Jackson snatched the phone. What are you trying to do? Going to cry to your mother? You pathetic loser. He held the phone high, sneering. Your mother must be so proud of such a useless daughter. Something broke right there. Give it back, I mumbled, weak. He ignored me, walked towards the kitchen. I heard the water running. You don't need a phone, do you? No one would even call you anyways. The sound of water splashing in the sink. Then I saw it. Security cam, on the counter. He'd installed it when we first moved in, said it was for safety. It was just for him to keep tabs on me. But now, maybe it could be proof. Get up, make food. He reached for my hair. Then the doorbell rang. Who is it? This late? Through the fog, I remembered what my coworker had said yesterday. If you're not feeling good, call me. Jackson's footsteps faded as he headed to the door. The bell rang again. No one's here, Jackson yelled, frustrated as he went back down the hallway. I used the chance. Got up, fought against the darkness, crawled to the kitchen, grabbed the camera, pulled the SD card, hand shaking, slipped it in my pocket. In the drawer with my sanitary products, there was cash, my ID, things I'd hidden away for an emergency. No one. What a waste of time. Jackson's voice got closer. I dashed into the bathroom. Hey, where'd you go? I said I was feeling sick, needed the toilet. Looking in the mirror, I saw a pale face, sweat dripping, but a light in my eyes I'd never seen before. I'm leaving, I said, my voice calm. What? What are you talking about? I've had enough. Are you out of your mind? I'm perfectly sane. Actually, you're the one who's been insane all this time. Jackson's face twisted. You can't leave. You can't live without me. You need me. I chuckled. Really? Is that true? Maybe you're the one who needs me? Shut up. His hand raised to strike. The doorbell rang again. This time, police sirens in the distance. Oh, right, I emailed my coworker earlier. Said if he couldn't get in touch to call the cops. Jackson's face drained. You. Goodbye, Jackson. I opened the door. A cop and my worried coworker. My body was at its limit. Pain. Fever. But my heart felt light. This wasn't the end. It was a new beginning. I knew it. I felt the SD card, warm in my pocket. Not just proof. Maybe it could give hope to someone else out there. I started my journey home. The courtroom was next. This time I wasn't alone. Nora, this is textbook emotional abuse, Carter, the lawyer, said, nodding after watching the SD card footage. Sun streamed into her office, reflected off her glasses. But this alone isn't enough. We need more. I pulled out the things I'd gathered, slow and steady. Email history I'd managed to forward before he took my phone. Weird withdrawals in our budget. This recording of Jackson when he's drunk. I pressed play, his distorted voice filling the room. I took you in, you know. You, a divorcee. Useless trash. Can't make money, can't cook right. You're a waste. Carter stopped the recording. That's enough. Classic personality denigration. Mental abuse. More than enough for court. Spring wind rustled the leaves outside. It had been a month since I'd left Jackson's. But Nora, Carter said, serious. It's gonna be a long fight. He'll come back hard. Are you ready for it? I took a breath. The doubts in my heart, they were fading now. Yeah, I don't want anyone else hurt. Carter nodded, satisfied. She'd been an emotional abuse lawyer for 10 years. Her experience, my strength. Let's get started, she said. We need to build the case. Carter opened her computer, started typing. A detailed account of my marriage, Jackson's changes, the escalating abuse. Nora, it's gonna be hard reliving all this, but please try and remember, specific as you can. I closed my eyes, went back. The terror in the morning, despair during the day, helplessness at night. Every detail came back. He controlled our money, monitored everything I spent, limited who I saw, who I spoke to, even family. As I spoke, my throat tightened, but no tears. Perfect, specific details, that's our weapon. Writing the statement took 3 days. I faced everything. Sick to my stomach, every time. Defendant Jackson Wilson, do you admit to engaging in continuous mental abuse against the plaintiff? The judge's voice echoed in the courtroom. Jackson, who used to be arrogant, hung his head low. I don't admit it. It was a misunderstanding. I loved my wife. The room went quiet. Then how do you explain the security camera footage? The screen showed that day. Jackson's insults, while I was sick, trying to drown my phone. I just got emotional for a second. What about emails? The recordings? The bank statements? Carter laid out the evidence, one after another. It was to ensure Nora's happiness. Happiness? I shouted. The judge nodded as I stood. What you call happiness is control, isn't it? Tearing down my character, crushing my self-worth. The room was silent. Your Honor, Carter stood. We request this evidence be made public, as a warning to anyone out there in the same boat. Jackson went pale. Objection. The other lawyer stood. The judge shook his head. Objection overruled. The defendant's actions clearly constitute mental abuse. The request to make the evidence public is granted. Walking out of the courtroom, I looked at the sky. The wind announced a new season. This wasn't the end. It was a new fight. This time, truth was on my side. The court's decision will now be announced. The judge's voice echoed. I clenched my fists. Carter's hand, gentle on my shoulder. You're free, legally and mentally, but the real battle has just begun. Yes, I know. I nodded. It's not just my problem. I don't want this to be for nothing. I want to help other people who are suffering. A ray of light through the clouds. It felt like nature was celebrating my new life. The verdict is as follows. The judge's voice echoed in the courtroom. My fists clenched. Carter's hand on my shoulder. This court finds that the defendant, Jackson Wilson, engaged in clear mental and emotional harassment. Therefore, the plaintiff's request for divorce is granted. The weight I'd carried for so long began to lift. Furthermore, the court orders the defendant to pay the plaintiff $1,050,000 in damages. Also, the plaintiff's request to make the evidence public is approved. Jackson collapsed, broken. No trace of the man who'd intimidated me. Walking out, Carter said, You're free now, legally and mentally, but the real battle's just starting. Yes, I know. I nodded. This isn't just about me. I don't want my experience to be for nothing. I want to help others going through this. A ray of light shone through the clouds. It felt like nature was celebrating my new life. Escaping my abusive husband, my journey of struggle. I typed the title, fingers trembling. I'd started this blog a week ago, but finally I had the courage to write the first post. Hi, I'm Nora, 35. I work in an office. Once I started, the words poured out. I survived emotional abuse, invisible violence. I won my freedom. I want to share with others who are going through this. My hand hovered over send, but no going back now. I published. The next morning, a surprise. I relate to this. I'm going through the same. How'd you find the courage? The comments flooded in. Messages from women who understood. Page views skyrocketed. Nora, would you consider doing an interview with us? An email request from a major news outlet. I was surprised, but maybe this was it. The studio lights were blinding. Can you talk about the reality of emotional abuse? The host asked. I answered, calm but firm. Emotional abuse is invisible violence. It chips away at your soul. After the broadcast, the response blew up. Book deals, speaking gigs. I read your book, Nora, a stranger told me. It helped me get a divorce. My heart warmed. My experience, it was changing lives. One day, I saw Jackson outside a supermarket, alone, looking down. The arrogance was gone. He held my book, pages worn. Our eyes met. He tried to say something, but then he just looked down and left. I went home, opened my computer. A title for my next post. Life After Liberation, Turning Scars into Hope. Fingers clicked across the keyboard. This wasn't the end. This was the start of a new story. Spring wind outside the window. Emotional Abuse Victim Support Center. I looked at the sign. A year since it opened. 100 women taking their first steps. Nora, new client. I turned around to the sound of my staff's voice. The woman there looked exactly like I used to. It's okay. You're not alone, I said. The words I'd needed most, now I was giving them. My desk. A flyer for my next speech. Breaking free from emotional abuse, turning scars into strength. My laptop. The draft of my new book. Our voices, testimonies of survivors. This was my path, to be a light for those who hurt.